a week ago, I didn't know what the fuck a clavicular was. And maybe that's because I'm getting old and out of touch, or maybe it's because I'm sane. But let me know in the chat, in the comment section, how many of you knew who the hell clavicular was before, like, a week ago? Because I'm going to guess that most people who aren't super plugged into, like, the weird looksmaxxing manosphere content likely did not know who he was. So he is an influencer who, again, calls himself a looksmaxer. And Robert Lauren says only from Owen, or it makes sense Telltale would cover him. It makes sense. Said he got wrecked the other day, correct? I believe so. Aaron says, I never really cared about looksmaxxing. It's a weird internet subculture of people who feel like they have to make themselves as pretty as possible. And it's the way that they go about it is sometimes damaging. It's like every problem that existed with the like early airbrushing days of magazines, but turned up to 11 because now it's influencers telling you directly to do that shit. He said, what is it? It is violently reshaping your jawline through microfracturing. That's what it is. Anyway, I got an article about him that I want to read with y'all that goes into some interesting details about this whole thing. So, videos of the influencer Clavicular are inescapable online. Social media is awash with clips of his sharp-featured face and muscular body, the results of a looksmaxxing regimen that includes testosterone injections and tapping his face with a hammer. Clavicular, who's 20, whose real name is Brandon Peters, is relatively new to the influencer life, but after just about a year of posting on his main account, the manosphere figure has been the subject of profiles in the New York Times, The Atlantic, GQ, The Guardian, etc. Between March and April, 70,000 clips of his content have been viewed 2.2 billion times across short-form video platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels, according to data posted on X by a marketing firm he works with. He amassed such fame without a large dedicated following. Instead, his name rocketed to the top of social media feeds due to modern marketing techniques bankrolled by Kick, the site where he is paid to live stream, according to an interview with Anthony Fujiwara, who runs a company, Clipping, that promotes Clavicular's content online. Kick is a subsidiary of Australian media firm EasyGo Entertainment, which owns the multi-million-dollar offshore crypto casino stake, which Clavicular promotes in his Kick live streams. So for those of you who don't know Kick is Twitter for losers. Sorry, Twitch for losers. That's what it is. It is Twitch for losers. It is a version of Twitch with less censorship, technically, but also less regulation, and allows a lot of gambling. And given that they own an offshore crypto casino, like, it makes sense that they would promote gambling as hard as they do. Jessa says much more gambling. Yeah. So I felt really weird when I went to DreamHack, and one of the big sponsors of DreamHack a few years ago was Kick. It felt really weird. Because I'm just like, man, I don't like any of you. I don't like Jeff Bezos either, but at least Twitch is moderated a smidge better than fucking Kick is. Daff says, Twitch for chuds who couldn't hold in their antisocial behaviors. Yep. Will says, it's the Twitch that people who get kicked off of Twitch go to. Right. Now, there is an argument that could be made for me multi-streaming and having a part of my stream going over to Kick, because that is where people who have a very different setup, a very different political setup, might be able to find my content and maybe deprogram a little bit, who knows? But I don't know. I don't know if I'd care enough about the assholes over there to do that. Jessica says, you want to know something weirder? My city has screens that show maps on how to get around, and they say, sponsored by Kalshi. They are city-owned screens. Razor says, 90-10 split. They do have a 90-10 split, but that 10% going to Kick, I wouldn't be super excited about. But again, like, shit going to Twitch is also bad, so meh. Whatever. Fewer than 1 million people follow Clavicular on each of his social media accounts, making him just a mid-tier influencer. Man, now I feel like I'm a low-tier influencer. Except I know I am. I'm a tiny YouTube channel. The fact that I'm able to turn this into a career is honestly weird as fuck and only happens because of my patrons. Like, that's it. The only reason I'm able to do this full-time is my patrons. There once was a time I was able to do this full-time without the patronage. My channel was earning like $4,000 a month once upon a time, which was wild. And now it earns closer to like 800, even though views aren't that much different now than they were then. Like, I maybe have 60 or 70% of the viewership now that I had then, but, you know, a fifth or a sixth of the income. It's weird. It's weird. YouTube is a weird place. So thank you to everybody on Patreon who allows me to survive. Y'all are fantastic. YouTube removed 2 of Clavicular's channels last week, saying posts about using performance-enhancing drugs violates its policies regarding promotion of illegal or regulated goods or services. Clavicular said on X that his team got no warning and worked hard to ensure they followed YouTube's terms. Yeah, YouTube doesn't give warnings about that shit. They just go. Jassa says, if I remember right, Kick doesn't moderate against bot viewing to get to the top of the list for more money. Wait, hold on. So you're telling me that I could be a fake influencer if I just threw all of my standards into the wind and had a bunch of bot accounts viewing me on Kick? So I would have like 70 to 100 viewers on Twitch and like 70 to 100,000 viewers on Kick, and then I would be a niche micro celebrity like my heroes? Wow! Ethics? Never heard of it. Yeah, never heard of it. Never heard of it. The reach of Clavicular's posts, Dutcher said, is manufactured and paid for. Clavicular and Kick did not respond to requests for comments. The influencer reaches a wider audience than his follower accounts suggest, thanks to 1,600 clipping contractors boost 1,600 clipping contractors boosting video clips of his content, according to data posted by X by Clipping. What? How? How much the fuck does that cost? What? Jesus Christ. Who could afford that many clippers? Like, look, I can't afford one clipper, okay? The contractors are paid by Clipping, which receives money from Kick, where Clavicular earns much of his income from filming himself for hundreds of hours every month, according to Fujiwara. Those contractors, called Clippers, earn income plucking potentially viral moments from those long Kick live streams and scattering them across social media. Clipping is a new line of work tailored to changes in social media platforms that reward short videos online, and where anyone with the right clip can see traction with an audience. In the case of Clavicular, we take advantage of every single social media algorithm, so he's unavoidable. Clipping's contractors receive a couple $100 for every million views amassed on a short... A couple $100 for a million views? Alright, I gotta show you guys numbers. Nanny Goblin, how's it going? I gotta show you guys numbers. I gotta show you how ludicrous that fucking is. I need to show you how ludicrous that sounds. So, this is gonna be from my live channel. This is from my live channel. This is what 50,000 views look like on my... This is my live secondary channel. Okay? 50,000 views looks like $150. Now, granted, that is long-form content, not short-form content. And I know that long-form, it's closer to like 100,000 views gets you $5. Something like that. The conversion rate's really bad. But, I mean, different kind of content, so it makes sense. Right? I just want to show you guys that to show you like what views translates to for people on the internet. Views translates almost directly into money. In the case of Clavicular, we take advantage of every single social media algorithm, so he's unavoidable. One brief moment from an 8-hour Kick stream can get 100 million views on Instagram, Fujiwara said. Last month, 93% of the 1,737 clippers working on Clipping's Kick marketing campaign made videos for Clavicular, according to data shared by Clipping in a post on X, suggesting Clavicular is the biggest beneficiary of Kick's clipping efforts. Some clipping clients pay a subscription fee of $2,500 to $10,000 a month, or sometimes more. So it's just advertising. It's just advertising. I mean, to be honest, there is an argument to be made, right? There's an argument to be made for how important it is to actually do this. So there is an argument to be made about how important marketing is. How important marketing is for any channel. And maybe, just maybe, I should be using a portion of my channel's funds to pay for marketing. But my question becomes, where's the line? Where's the line between this is marketing and this is artificial reach? Where does the pile turn into the heap there? Under a screenshot of the data, Clavicular comment ViewMaxed. His website links to Clipping's Discord channel and offers the chance to get paid to clip. Kick's clipping campaigns are designed to bring viewers onto the platform, which acts as a marketing vehicle for the offshore crypto casino Stake. A February Bloomberg Businessweek investigation found. Stake relies on influencers like Clavicular to spread word about its business, which brought in an estimated $18 billion in deposits last year. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of dollars for a predatory business. Mook says it's SEO, artificially inserting themselves into the algo so they can jump off of the momentum. Paige says that Venn diagram is a perfect circle at this point. I don't know if that's the case. So, like, you get somebody like me who makes like between $2,000 and $4,000 a month, depending on factors like how much Patreon is doing, how much Twitch is doing, how much YouTube's doing. The number can fluctuate a lot, and it's one of the things that's scary about this job. So take that. Take all of my bills out of that, which has in the past included an over $700 power bill for some fucking reason. So take all that money out and then have a little bit left over for myself. If some of that money gets used for marketing, like, is that just artificial engagement or is that putting a face out there? I don't know. Mook says the majority of it is severely underpaid labor, siphoned off people of the global south. Yeah. Said headquartered in Australia but incorporated in Caraco, Stake is currently being sued in several U.S. jurisdictions for operating an illegal gambling business in the United States through its Stake U.S. social casino. Stake, through Kick, did not respond to a request for comment. The company has said it rejects allegations related to the California suit and has argued that the claims in other class action lawsuits are meritless. Like other top-viewed Click streamers, Clavicular often plays Stake casino games while he's live on Kick. Viewers who sign up for Stake using his code CLAV are offered rewards. Some influencers have received tens of millions of dollars per year advertising themselves playing Stake's digital slots on Kicks. Tens of millions of dollars per year awarded to them by Kick for being on Kick. My God. Jessa says, I would also say it becomes artificial when you use bots. I mean, when you're using bots, you're literally... like, it's literally artificial viewership at that point, because the views are artificial. Controversy has followed Kick since its founding in 2022 after viral live streaming site Twitch, owned by Amazon, banned crypto gambling live streams. Kick has faced backlash on social media for showcasing shocking content, including the death of a French live streamer after 10 days of torture and several apparent physical assaults. Some people who committed the apparent assaults were later suspended or banned. A Kick spokesperson told the BBC that the company is saddened by the live streamer's death and its guidelines are designed to protect creators. Clavicular's behavior has inspired news articles describing a recent overdose, his arrest on a battery charge, shooting a dead alligator, and more. Those new news articles often prominently reference Kick, either in the text or video clips of Clavicular. The phenomenon around him shows how markets today can take advantage of the type of content that social media algorithms reward, said Sarah Krebs, the director of Cornell University's Tech Policy Institute. Sites spread content that users might engage with longer than usual because it's confusing or shocking. Polarizing videos drive engagement, and engagement drives financial dividends. Boy, howdy! If I wanted to feel like I lived in a capitalist dystopia, that would be the exact words I would use. Meanwhile, I'm streaming over here, and yeah, they're right. Polarizing videos drive engagement. It feels gross as shit. Psychiater says, with fake win rates for streamers. That one I didn't know about, but it makes sense. Average viewership on Kick has grown 238% over the last 2 years, according to data from the stream charts, but forcing someone into the spotlight doesn't guarantee fandom. Although clips of his content have flooded the zone, just about 6,200 people watch Clavicular Kick's live stream on average, putting him in 46th place when it comes to viewership. Okay, that sounds weird because I know streaming numbers. I know streaming numbers super well because this has been my job for a really long time now. 6,200 people watching a stream is wild. As an example, let's do some math. So I average anywhere between 80 and 100 viewers a week, or 82 and 100 viewers concurrently on a stream, right? Let's do some math on what that translates to. Let's say that subs are operating, and we know it's a 90-10 conversion, so $5 a sub means about $4.50-ish going to Clavicular whenever somebody subs to him on the equivalent of a Kick sub on Kick. With about, we'll call it 80. With 80 consecutive viewers, I have almost 300 subs this month. So let's go ahead and take 6,200 and divide that by 80. So we're going 77.5, and that is multiplied by the 300 subs. And now we are going to multiply that by 0.9 in order to shave off the 10% that Kick would be taking. And then we are going to multiply that by 12 months. And there is his income, likely, just from viewership. This is the income from viewership alone. And that is assuming that his numbers are identical to my numbers, just put at scale. Which we know is not the case, because as you scale up, you get more whales. The higher you scale, the more you get whales. Mook says definitely most of his money is coming from gambling companies, crypto companies, middleman companies, capitalism go burr. Right, but consider this. How many of you in the chat right now can claim that at any point in your lives, you have made this much money a year? I doubt it's many of you. In fact, knowing my audience, I would likely doubt it's any of you. It's not even me. It's definitely not me. Razor says me, okay, you're an exception. Fuck off. You did a lot of shit in the banking industry. Fuck off. I'm not, you don't really have to fuck off, Razor. I appreciate you greatly, and you've contributed a ton to this stream. But, point is, this is a ludicrous amount of money for anybody to make in general streaming. In general. Now, add on merchandise, add on kickbacks from Kick, add on sponsorships from the gambling companies, add on everything. And you have a ridiculously ludicrous amount of money, an unfathomable amount of money for somebody to make who is just streaming. This is the kind of income that quickly makes you a millionaire, like rapidly makes you a millionaire. That's why he's able to afford so many clippers, by the way, because you don't need that much money to live. Nobody needs that much money to live, by any stretch of the word. Like, you get that much money, you spend half of it on a fucking mortgage, you use that mortgage as your tax deductible for the year, so that you don't have a huge tax burden that year. You then go into the next year without a mortgage, because you paid it all in the first year and then used it as tax leverage. You go into the next year only having to pay utilities. Only having to pay utilities. That's it. Your income is pure gravy slush. Liliander says 5 years of that per year makes you a millionaire if you want to be. Kind of. So you got to remember that at certain incomes, at least in America, you go into higher tax brackets. So like at this point, what are the American tax brackets? I had an argument with somebody earlier about the Canadian tax brackets. So we have progressive tax, 10, 12, 22, 24, 32, 35, 37. 37 is at 626,000. So at most, he's at what, 32%? This is the 32% tax bracket. Actually, no, at this number, he's at the 35% tax bracket. So like $600 of this is taxed at 35%. The next $53,000 of that is taxed at 32%. The next $94,000 of that is taxed at 24%. The next $55,000 of that is taxed at 22%. And the next $37,000 of that is taxed at 12%. And everything else is taxed at 10%. Because it's not just 33% of his income gets taxed. It's not how taxes work. 5 years of that after taxes makes you a millionaire if you want to be. Yeah, like if you buy a mortgage first so that you just have gravy funds afterwards, then yeah, you're rapidly being that. You're rapidly turning into that. And remember, like everything he's writing off on taxes, the clipping he writes off on taxes. He can write that all off on taxes. When you do your taxes, anything as a content creator that you use for creating content, that was inspiration for content, that is something that a tax advisor can get with you with, because those are potential things that can be written off as tax deductible. Razor says it's about $57K for taxes at that point. Yeah, they become business expenses. His content may be high engagement enough to pause on while scrolling, but not inspiring enough to subscribe long-term, according to Cornell's Preps. Outrage travels further than affinity. I mean, it is right, technically. You're correct about that. Outrage generates views in the moment. To cultivate an audience, it's a lot harder. It's a much longer process. Hell, if I tried to tell you guys how I cultivated an audience that is able to keep me afloat full-time, I couldn't tell you. It happened so slowly and so organically that I could not give you the step-by-steps that lead to it, because I don't know if they'd be consistent. I can tell you the things that happened with my channel. That's about it. But anyway, if you've heard about him recently, then these are the reasons why. There is a giant borderline astroturfing campaign being done to put him in your face 24/7. And we learned a little bit about taxes and advertising along the way, I guess. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.